Tony D and Little Joan in the background, and this is a screenwriter's tip on how to write a Christmas movie. I don't think I did this one. Smash a like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. The links are in the description. Comedy horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys, books 1 through 16. Available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. And don't forget, book 16 contains the Christmas story, The Piney That Saved Christmas. All right. So how do you write a Christmas screenplay? Obviously, the movie has to take place at Christmas or in the build up to Christmas. You probably get to see Christmas at some point. Now, it's not a Christmas movie if it takes place during some other holiday. So let's get that out of the way. It has to somehow tie in to the story of Christmas. Now, whether that story is biblical or the more broad Christmas story of Santa or presents or family get-togethers. Usually Christmas movies are about togetherness, and the ending of a Christmas movie, generally speaking, is going to be a positive one. It has to embody the Christmas spirit. So the first act usually is something like a build up to Christmas. The season's coming, so you get the holiday sort of tropes, the snow, maybe some of the consumerism. In the case of the more religious one, you might get the wind up to the birth of Christ somewhere in the Middle East, near Jerusalem, the wise men, something like that. And that's the first act. The second act is the problem. Now, in the traditional Bible story, there's really not much of a problem per se, other than people are going to see the baby Jesus. In the sort of regular sort of Christmas screenplay, generally the problem is either Christmas is not going to happen or it's going to be disrupted in some way. Maybe the problem is someone's not going to get gifts because they've been naughty, or Santa's in trouble, or the people who are going to celebrate Christmas are having problems with the holiday. Usually it's a family thing. If it's more grounded in reality, it's about a family. They're having some issues. And then in the third act, they resolve these issues and celebrate Christmas. Or maybe we catch a glimpse of them like going back into the house, and they're going to open presents, and that's going to be Christmas, and it's all going to be good. Or they go back to dinner. So it's usually a very positive thing. There have been horror movies that had Santa in them, or Krampus, or the holiday. I wouldn't consider those Christmas movies. Even the action movies like Die Hard, they don't really embody the Christmas spirit. You can argue about it all you want. Bruce Willis himself said it wasn't a Christmas movie. It has to embody the Christmas spirit in some way. And the Christmas spirit is a spirit of giving and spending time with your family. So it doesn't really matter what happens in the first two acts as long as that spirit embodies the ending, right? So whatever happens in the first two acts, as long as eventually the characters come around to, yes, we have to be together on Christmas, give presents and give of each other. It doesn't have to be presents, but they give of each other something. Then you're good. It can be a comedy, it could be a drama. Usually it's light because you want to have a positive feeling at the end of a Christmas movie. Especially if you want it to be a Christmas classic. A lot of times there's songs as well. I mean, all the puppet ones from back in the day, A Year Without a Santa Claus, and all those. I love those. They've got great songs, and again, they embody the Christmas spirit. Those are musicals I don't mind because you know what's going to happen. You know where the screenplay is headed. So the object really is more to entertain as you get there. And there's not going to be a hell of a lot of surprise in a Christmas movie. You know how it's going to end. The only question is, when is it going to end? And, what wacky characters you're gonna encounter along the way. In the case of Home Alone, which I do think is a Christmas movie, even though it's not very traditional in a sense, but it's about family, and eventually they come around, and Kevin, appreciates his family at the end of the movie. He misses them. And then they all spend time together, and his mother comes home and whatever. So, now the key is, how do you entertain people in a different way in a Christmas movie? Well, you can, for instance, do some research on Christmas. There's not a whole lot to mine from there, although they did recently find the crypt of St. Nicholas, so that's something. So you want to come up with, if you're doing a very grounded piece, new sort of Christmas traditions that families do. Maybe it's your family, maybe it's based on something you do. For instance, in the Pineys, in book 13, I introduced something the Pineys, the Galloway family does. It's called Peach Pit. And this is based on something my family did one time. We were having a barbecue, and me and my cousins got into dune buggies and started driving through this apple orchard, and we started chucking apples at each other, and it was a lot of fun. So I did a variation of that called Peach Pit, where the characters did the same thing, except they went to a peach orchard and threw peaches at each other. So it was a little different, but it was very similar. So you could take a unique it wasn't really much of a tradition. We only did it once, but you could take a family event like that and turn it into something unique for your Christmas movie that the characters do. It wasn't Christmas in the Pineys book, but it was a family get together kind of thing. My family, we play a lot of games, so sometimes the Pineys are playing games with each other. Something that they can do as a group that's a bonding experience, that's often fun. A lot of times it takes place at a house, and they're having dinner, and everybody's bringing stuff and complaining about each other, but then you realize by the end of the movie they all love each other. Even though they have their problems, they all come together as a family. So families are usually pretty crucial. If you're not going to include a family, you're probably going to focus more on Saint Nick and the elves and all that stuff. Again, not a lot to mine from there. Although, I got to say, I have read a ridiculous amount of reviews of Red One, saying that it's a pretty good movie. Scott Adams liked it. Jack Posobiec liked it. A few others. I might have to check that movie out. I mean, it might be a decent Christmas movie. Maybe got a bad vibe because, I don't know, there's just so many overblown movies, and that just felt like another one. Maybe it's halfway decent. I don't know. But for me, my favorite Christmas movies are Scrooged with Bill Murray. Variation on a classic. That's always good to add sort of classic elements, traditional elements, and then variations on them. So Scrooge was a variation on Ebenezer Scrooge and the Christmas Carol, but a very unique one, very specific to television and television executives. And then again, I like the puppets from A Year Without a Santa Claus. I like the Heat Miser song and the Cold Miser song, so that kind of stuff. And I like The Grinch That Stole Christmas. That's another very unique one. You've got the Grinch. He's like a made-up guy, a made-up creature who steals Christmas, and Whoville and a bunch of made-up creatures. So you want to put your own spin on it, whatever it is. Elf, a lot of people think Elf is a classic. It's not bad. It's funny. But you want to put your own spin on that. Take the elements and then try to make them more unique by putting your own unique spin on them. Because we all know how this ends. It ends with the family being together, giving presents, and Christmas is saved. Christmas is saved once again. Anyhow, I hope that helps. And that's it for me, Tony D and Little Joan. Hope you are going to have a Merry Christmas tomorrow. There's fireworks going off on my neighborhood, strangely enough. Who the hell is lighting fireworks on Christmas? I don't know. Bunch of weirdos. Uh, I don't know how many videos I get to do tomorrow, but we'll see you at some point